Welcome back to another recording of one of our Overwatch 2 playtests that occurred in Hawaii during the playoffs. Mitch Leslie here, joined by Matthew Morello, your regularly scheduled commentators. And again, we have the San Francisco Shock playing up against the Dallas Fuel, this time on the map of New York.
You're the only one outside of my grandmother who calls me Matthew. But
yep. Now everyone else will too.
Yeah, it's a you know, an old Italian woman New York thing, you know, and seeing New York created in Overwatch 2, it looks so good. I remember when we did the PvP live stream and we showed this one off, and we saw a little bit about it at BlizzCon Line. I could not wait to see, you know, players, you know, get a chance with this map, as you know, the art here just looks tremendous all the way through. They really kind of captured the essence of New York City and put it in a much more manageable space.
Yes, absolutely. Much of the vibrance still present here, and it's really fun just to see a lot of the little Easter eggs that have been dropped in here. So keep your eyes peeled for those. Now, let us not forget, this is a hybrid map, Matthew.
Yes, so the red team, which will be some of the players from the Dallas Fuel, it's actually all players from the Dallas Fuel, they'll be on offense, so they'll have to take the point then will unlock a payload, and it'll kind of work a lot like how, you know, with escort maps is Super, he's actually going to get DMAX really early, and that's going to allow Sparkle to take this high ground here through the train.
Yeah, this train cart forms a bit of an overpass on this map, and Sparkle was hoping to get some work done,
dude,
but you're dealing with the Stone Cold Killer Violet. He gets rid of both the enemy DPSs.
You know, the Shock messes around putting, you know, Violet on DPS during the season. They're not going to have to do that anymore, you know. Right there on the Batiste, right? He's got a Hanzo into 76 coming through that train, and he's able to just take them out, you know, with the help of that immortality field. Is Hanbin on the Reinhardt. You can see now they're actually trying to play more for this train, right? Try and get the Hanzo in the 76 up in here to do some damage.
To them, it seems preferable to playing inside the choke, and this is a different look for Super. He's actually playing the D.Va. Not normally his selection in Overwatch 1, but he's still making it look pretty darn good, as so far the Dallas Fuel are being denied this little train cart overpass. Now, maybe they'll think about walking under. We'll see. So far, though, it's a pretty brutal choke to get through.
You can hear Ash's gun, right, when she shoots from underneath the bridge. Just the sound's just so much more real. It feels like more of the impact.
It's more immersive,
yeah,
right?
It is. Super's going to be in a tough spot here, but the reason you're playing the D.Va on defense is you want to control this high ground, right? And with potentially the defense matrix, this will be a Bob used by Glister, so this is going to buy the Shock some more time to stabilize. But, you know, D.Va, you're able to control some of this train car, and then also, if players get weak, you have the mobility to get up and finish them off.
Transitioning between the high and low ground quickly is pretty important. And look at this. Hanbin goes ahead of the amplification matrix thrown down by Fielder and eats up some of the oncoming damage. Drops down to the low ground. He's done a heck of a lot of work here. He'll be desuited, but the Dallas Fuel here, they've moved to the point. You can see that's denoted by that sort of that blue strip around it. And again, like any hybrid map, it's 3 ticks, and once they have them, they'll access a payload. Dragon Strike thrown in, I guess, the presumed direction of San Francisco coming out, but that's 4 players going to be hit with that EMP. Remember, initially they'll lose the use of their abilities, but it's the damage amplification for Sombra after the fact it's so deadly. Tyre's able to find 1 kill, but Sparkle turns around and eliminates him instantly. It looks like some stabilization here from the Shock.
Yeah, it's that EMP now, right? It does percent health damage to players around, you know, 40% of the current health, and then also it marks them, right? So the Sombra's able to get more damage down. Tayo, in a traditional game, right, Overwatch 1, where the hack takes the abilities offline forever, that's a nice kill there by Tayo to finish off Fielder. I know potentially the Soldier 76 up on the high ground would have not been able to use that tac visor to defend the team, but that time he was. It still wasn't enough to turn the fight, though.
No Fielder, and still the Fuel want to go forward here. Sound barrier from Jex is what sets them up, but there's going to be a Bob used defensively by Glister. Hanbin's Wrecking Ball, again, he still favors the mobility of that hero, and he's found Violet, who backs right up onto a mini health pack and is able to stay alive now, thanks to that, plus his own healing. He's hit with a pile driver, gets a Harmony Orb from his teammate, and that forces the immortality field of Violet, which is removed, and Fielder gets him at long range.
And you see Violet on the Batiste, even to protect himself pretty well. Is this going to be a backup? Oh no!
Perhaps the Shock are so taken in by the ambience, Matthew, that they just are not aware of what Doha's doing. Either way, look, we see it in Overwatch League. It's fitting that it occurs here. Payload's on the move.
Yes, Back half not paying attention, and Doha being sneaky. That's going to be an EMP as well, as FD God using the Valkyrie, just trying to keep everybody alive. Not going to be able to do so. Sombra's role now is much different than it was in Overwatch 1. Overwatch 1, she was really used for a lot of like scouting and information from the DPS perspective, right? And trying to set up other teammates to pick up the kills.
Focused.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where now her kit, not changed completely, but just changed enough in tune to be more of like an assassin. How she was able to be.
Yeah, getting the extra damage on hacked targets, plus the EMP doing % health damage, which is huge against teams with tanks in that front line being affected by it. Doha there gets out after there's a hack on Super.
And something you notice just by kind of watching and observing the game thus far is that's a really nice pulse bomb there from Kalista. I believe it actually even does some damage on Ejecta. The ultimates, right? In Overwatch 1, you play, and a lot of the team fights are just a lot decided by ultimates, right? Both teams just using 2-3 ultimates in a fight, and you always seem to have some up. Right now, with how Overwatch 2 looks here, and the current tuning here in this alpha, it's not there's more opportunity to make plays without ultimates, but then it also obviously makes the impact of when you use that ultimate stronger and more impactful.
Absolutely. I mean, gaining less ultimate charge while firing on tanks definitely is...
And one less tank,
dissuade people from doing that. Super. Gonna get a remech opportunity here, and quickly Sparkle had to get out. He was at risk of being hacked, and even for a split second, not being able to recall would have been the difference between being alive, getting back to your team, and falling. 5 seconds remain in the round now, but the fuel are on the cart, so we will have an overtime. EMP connects there. It's a nice one from Doha, and re-hack there on FD God to make it so there's no CC from the Brig, and the cart's getting close to the checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of the best Sombras we have in the Overwatch League, so you fully expect him to be able to pick up the reworked version of Sombra and really start to master it early on. Nice pulse bomb meet there from Super. Let's see if they can finish it off. Yeah, nice sleep as well, so they're going to take out Sparkle.
Tayo here with the Hanzo. This next part of the map is a little bit twisting and turning, so having a Sonic arrow here just to scout out some of these movements in advance like that, very helpful now, as Tayo can be aware of exactly where Fielder was waiting. Perfect execution of that information.
Look around the room here, towards this last stage of the map. There are so many different ways you can attack this, right? You see the way that Hanbin's taking right now, kind of attacking this high ground. There's even more verticality here in the back. It's so open, and I think that's something that they've talked about, going into Overwatch 2, right? It's like, more opportunity to flank, more opportunity to make plays. The maps kind of aid to that as well.
So the rally quote-unquote armor there is actually green health, as was the adaptive shield of Hanbin when he dropped in there on the Wrecking Ball. So, all of those sort of decaying extra health effects have been sort of, united under sort of just being green health in this case. Sound barrier, obviously, in much the same vein. Here's the Transcendence coming out from Fielder, and there's an EMP, so bam. Large amount of early % damage done means Violet is extremely squishy, and Sparkle can play from a relatively safe distance here now, as we're going to be into yet another overtime with the Dallas Fuel still looking pretty comfortable, forcing the defenders back into their spawn behind Sparkle, the tip of the spear.
Yeah, no, the Sombra obviously can put down extra damage, but the hack also allows Sparkle to see players through the walls for a period of time, right? So he's able to track really nicely on the 76. They're going to have the Nano Boost Super to get to the payload just to stop it from going in.
And look, the Fuel respect this for the most part, but the Minefield has dropped down now, and Super's going to be de-suited as a result. And, well, the Tactical Visor hits that much harder when there is no mitigation in the form of Defense Matrix. Sparkle just deals death from the back line now, and that Dragon Strike might dissuade the Fuel to a degree, but Hanbin's so durable, he rolls straight on through of it. Those last few mines disappear, but the Dallas Fuel finish the match.
Well, so they don't have any time remaining, right? So we'll see when the Shock go on their offense, what they decide to do. Maybe they play for that high ground just like Dallas did. But the goal line here for the Shock is to complete the map and get us into overtime. Now that's what they would need to do to extend this game.
Couple different looks there, of course, in terms of compositions, right? We started off with sort of the more dive-centric setup as both teams were playing the D.Va, trying to control the train cart overpass. Switched it up a little bit there, of course, as we're going to see some different tanks. The Hanzo came out. The Sombra was there as well. Again, definitely a feeling of, I don't know, greater lethality from your DPS here. And that might just be You know, because there's one less tank to look at. They sound nastier and they definitely hit hard.
I mean, also more lethality from the supports, right? You know, the game kind of kicked off with Violet being able to pick up both damage dealers, you know, from the Dallas Fuel while inside of the train car while he's playing the Batiste. So the Batiste typically, you know, even in Overwatch 1, a more offensive-minded support, but still being able to kind of do damage and I think, you know, be a force offensively from every position, I think is really important.
So again, as you can see up there, the map finished. 3 checkpoints for the Dallas Fuel. San Francisco, again, if you got to see our Dorado playtest, you might have seen some hijinks at the start of the round. We might have those once more here as the Shocker out of the gates here. Again, they have a Symmetra, but this is probably uncharted territory for them. So knowing how to get value out of the Symmetra is probably not all that clear to them off the rip.
Two very different comps, though, where the Shock, they're trying to set up these sim turrets and play around this Reinhardt in the Torbjorn. Does not look to be working out here as, you know, the Doha on the Echo able to get to the high ground. They get very difficult for the Shock to get anything going.
Uncharted territory for some, but Doha looks extremely at home on the Echo, as usual. I mean, Dallas are one of the teams that, you know, rotated both their DPS players through playing Echo at times. So, still have the Reinhardt from... Okay, Super switching to the Roadhog here.
They were able to make a play, right, through the initial choke and try and...
they made a TP play, right? Yeah. But they got burnt down by that Echo.
Yeah, but you know, they were able to get position inside of the store to the left, and maybe if they're able to live there a little bit longer, you know, get healed up, they would have been in a spot to make a play. Nice hook there from Super. And it's really Roadhog's strength is to be able to get these early picks.
I mean, Super in the 2020 Grand Finals run got some notoriety on that Roadhog as he was in vogue at the time. Very fitting to see him on it here. Pile driver attempt here. That knocks up FD God, but again, it's Doha with that focusing beam from the skies that's been a little bit of an issue. From the ground, though, Glister's able to burn Jexa down, so no Resurrect available, and Doha chooses to copy Batiste. He respects Violet's damage potential and wants some of that for himself.
Look, Violet will challenge anybody, right? He hears the M-Matrix goes down, he drops his own. It's not going to work out for him. But look at this. They have not been able to deal with Fielder up on the high ground. That's going to be a sleep there on the Super, and he's got an opportunity to hit a big Biotic Grenade.
Okay, he has to touch, though. There's no choice but to drop onto the point. Tayo, very low. Fielder's going to be able to finish him off on his own, and Super's in deep trouble. He can't take a breather in time. And yeah, the reinforcements came at just the right time, but Fielder's honor remains to be
nutty play. I mean, he's able to stay up there, kind of heal his team as they're defending. You know, prevents the Shock from actually taking the point, right? Very close, 96%. Gets a sleep onto the tank, drops down, Biotic Grenade. He's able to pick up a kill. I mean, that is a huge game-changing play from Urana there on the high ground.
Glister tries to go for a bit of a back cap, or at least tries to draw some attention. That pulse bomb goes awry. Now Super, again, he knows he doesn't give a lot of ult percent, but he can still get eliminated. He's able to do that though to Doha, and now he's looking for the Mercy. This is a one-man army right now. Straight onto the point. Bob used defensively, but he'll be picked up awful quick too.
And even though that big Biotic Grenade came through from Fielder again, they were able to just, you know, stay inside of the train car, you know, get cover, wait for it to wear off, and that's when Super's able to go out and use his pick potential to open things up, and he's able to get 2 straight away. Glister is taking some damage, you know, from another player in the distance, and you're able to get those 3 kills and unlock the payload.
Again, quite the vibrant payload now.
Look at some of the high ground they can play from on offense right away, right?
Yeah, look at how quickly they want to establish that, especially with a Soldier 76 here. Super doesn't really have much need for it. He wants to try and go forward here, but all of the Fuel are really trying to hold very close together and get value out of Ash here. Tayo wants a good vantage point to make this tactical visor work, but he's being harassed by the Wrecking Ball. He'll go for it now.
Yeah, this is the attack visor here is the Shock. They want to push this payload. You know, just like in Overwatch, you know, a lot of the maps have these difficult chokes at times to get through. This looks like it's going to be one on New York trying to get through this underpass. So they invest some ultimates. They get through the underpass with the cart. And now what do, though? They don't really have much outside of this Pulse Bomb and the Amp Matrix. They got to get good use of these ultimates.
And remember that the payload is very close to the checkpoint, right? It's just, you know, a right turn at Albuquerque and they're there. Okay, wow, nice pile driver. That's ridiculous. 3 players hit by the pile driver and into the minefield immediately. Hanbin's going to be beaming after that one, but so is Doha. Still controlling that higher ground on the Echo, and Super I don't know if he's trying to, you know, do a Banksy impression here or try and save the round. He's got 1 minute and 10 seconds.
He's on the flank. He's on the sneak.
I mean, which one? Fielder? That's a pretty good target.
He'll take anyone.
Hey, I mean, you get rid of the biotic grenade source. You don't find any more than that, though. The cart does push up a little bit,
but look at this.
Doha finds the kill on
Look
Super.
at the position it forces them into. You know, the Dallas Fuel now underneath in the underpass. They have to use a duplicate. They're not going to get anything for it, but man, Doha with some help of Sparkle finishes off Tayo pretty quick.
But his duplicate was so short-lived, he's immediately knocked out of that. So it barely has any time to respond. Violet in mid-air is able to avoid the focusing beam, and Hanbin works him down. That cart, though, is still not moving. The fire truck still looms closely to this checkpoint, and we're under 30 seconds left. The Shock have to dig a little deeper.
And Dallas has this rally. They've done a great job of kind of conserving their ultimates and playing around them.
His rally.
Getting good use of them.
And that green health being doled out to anybody in the vicinity. Here, an FD God can't quite escape. That is a very angry Brigitte. It's a par driver on the higher ground for Super, and it allows Fighter to secure the kill on Sparkle, but there's still 4 players up here for the Dallas Fuel, and they're not budging from the cart. Great whip shot there to knock the Wrecking Ball back, but Super's still able to trigger overtime.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, though, for the Shock, as Dallas really, you know, dominating here on the defensive side of things. And, oh, FD God, he'll jump on and get a touch. It just looked like it when it was about to be over.
And there it is, overtime getting real close here. Tough to touch the cart with the Brigand. Violet won't be able to drop down. Our first competitive play test of New York goes to the Dallas Fuel. Convincing win. Keep an eye out for the rest of our Overwatch 2 play tests.
Thanks for joining us for this preview match from the Overwatch 2 playtest. You can catch more Overwatch 2 action with the best pros in the Overwatch League and more from the two of us right here on the Play Overwatch YouTube channel. Stay tuned, and we'll see you then.